Sure, here's a 1,600-word article written in a narrative, flowing style suitable for a YouTube script about the 1991 Oldsmobile 98 in 2025, blending nostalgia, historical context, and modern appreciation. There's something special about stepping back into an era that defined American automotive culture, a time when full-size sedans were kings of the road and comfort came first. The 1991 Oldsmobile 98, especially the Touring Sedan, is one of those vehicles that stands as a rolling tribute to a different age of driving. Now, in 2025, it feels like a relic, but not one forgotten. Instead, it's one that car enthusiasts still admire, restore, and enjoy, holding a quiet kind of prestige. Today, let's dive into what made the 1991 Oldsmobile 98 a defining car for its time, and why it still captures interest over 3 decades later. To understand the 1991 Oldsmobile 98, you have to appreciate what Oldsmobile meant in the American automotive landscape. Once the oldest surviving American car brand, Oldsmobile was known for pioneering technology and luxury that didn't scream but whispered its presence with confidence. By 1991, the 98 had evolved into a front-wheel drive cruiser, far from its rear-wheel drive roots but still full of charm and stately presence. The 1991 Oldsmobile 98 marked the final chapter of the 10th generation, a model that had carried the brand through much of the 1980s. It was a full-size sedan with a sleek, modern body shape for its time, rounded edges, and a distinctly early 90s sense of refinement. The most notable offering in this lineup was the 98 Touring Sedan, a version that aimed to blend luxury with sportiness, a bold move for a nameplate known more for dignified cruising than spirited driving. The Touring Sedan set itself apart with subtle but noticeable changes. It rode on FE3 Sport suspension, had 16-inch alloy wheels wrapped in performance rubber, and a slightly firmer ride quality. Its leather bucket seats and floor shifter were rare features in a sea of bench seats and column shifters. On the outside, you could spot it by its more aggressive front fascia, fog lights, and body-colored trim. It wasn't trying to be a sports car, but it hinted at performance in a way that made enthusiasts take notice. It was almost like Oldsmobile's way of saying, "We can do comfort, but we're not afraid to have some fun." Under the hood, the 1991 Oldsmobile 98 came standard with a 3.8-liter V6 engine, the legendary Buick-derived 3800 series. In the Touring Sedan, the L27 version made 170 horsepower and 225 pound-feet of torque. Those might not sound like big numbers in 2025, but back then, it meant smooth acceleration, great mid-range power, and reliable operation. The engine was practically bulletproof, known for racking up hundreds of thousands of miles without complaint. It was paired to a 4-speed automatic transmission, and while it wasn't a speed demon, it was more than capable of getting up to highway speed with dignity and grace. Inside the car, you got the full early 90s experience. Plush leather, wood grain accents, and analog gauges with green backlighting gave it a distinct vibe. Digital dashboards were optional and futuristic for their time. Features like power seats, automatic climate control, a premium Delco stereo, and even a driver information center made it feel upscale. The seats were more like armchairs than anything modern, offering soft cushioning and long-haul comfort that today's sport-tuned seats just can't replicate. It was a car made for the open road, for long-distance drives without fatigue. It had that classic GM interior smell too, part leather, part plastic, part nostalgia. One of the things people often forget is how quiet and smooth these cars were. The ride quality was almost limousine-like, soaking up bumps and gliding over rough pavement. In the Touring Sedan, it was a bit firmer, yes, but still leagues ahead in comfort compared to many modern compacts. Oldsmobile engineered these cars with isolation in mind. Wind noise was minimal, road noise subdued. You could hear the hum of the 3.8 V6 and the occasional shift of the transmission, but nothing ever intrusive. It was a rolling sanctuary. In 1991, this car wasn't exactly aimed at the young crowd. It appealed more to successful professionals, retirees, and those who appreciated subtle luxury. But with the Touring Sedan, Oldsmobile tried to nudge younger buyers, those who may be considered a European import, by offering a bit more edge. It was a soft attempt at capturing the sport luxury market, and while it didn't rewrite the rulebook, it earned respect for its execution. It felt more substantial than most Japanese sedans at the time and was priced competitively, offering a lot of car for the money. Fast forward to 2025, and the 1991 Oldsmobile 98 feels like a time capsule. On modern roads filled with high-riding crossovers and autonomous driving tech, the 98 stands out, not just because of its size and shape, but because of what it represents. It's a car that demands you pay attention. You turn the key in the ignition. You feel the slight vibration of the V6. You shift it into drive yourself. There's no lane keep assist, no auto braking, no touch screen. It's just you and the road, the way it used to be. For collectors and enthusiasts, the Oldsmobile 98 from this era has started to gain appreciation. While it doesn't command the prices of muscle cars or rare exotics, clean examples, especially touring sedans, are becoming harder to find. Most were daily drivers, used and loved, then quietly retired or scrapped. But those that remain are often well kept, showing the resilience of GM's engineering and the loyalty of owners who never saw a reason to switch. It's a great entry point into the classic car world, affordable, reliable, and with a presence that turns heads at local meets. Maintenance on a 1991 98 is generally straightforward. The 3800 engine is one of the most respected powerplants in GM's history, and parts availability remains strong due to its widespread use across various GM models. The only real challenges come from age. Rubber components wear out, electronics may fail, and interior trim can get brittle. But compared to modern vehicles with complex ECUs and layered sensors, the 98 is refreshingly analog. It's a car you can work on yourself, and that's a big part of its charm. Driving one today is a reminder of what we've gained and what we've lost in the march toward progress. Sure, modern cars are faster, more efficient, and packed with technology. But they often lack the character, the soul, of cars like the Oldsmobile 98. There's something deeply satisfying about cruising in a full-size American sedan, watching the needle float across the speedometer, and knowing that you're piloting a piece of history. If you grew up in the 80s or 90s, chances are you've ridden in an Oldsmobile 98. Maybe it was your parents' car, or your grandparents', or the car someone took to prom. They were everywhere, reliable, trusted, and built to last. Today, they're rare sights, but when you see one, it brings back a flood of memories. That's the magic of a car like this. It's not just transportation, it's a time machine on wheels. In a world where Oldsmobile no longer exists, retired as a brand in 2004, the 98 serves as a poignant reminder of what the division stood for. Innovation, comfort, and quiet confidence. It wasn't the flashiest car on the block, but it was dependable, well-built, and full of class. It was a car for people who didn't need to show off, but who appreciated quality and comfort all the same. As we look around today and see the automotive world shifting to EVs and software-driven experiences, the 1991 Oldsmobile 98 stands proudly as a relic of the analog era. It invites you to slow down, to enjoy the drive, to remember a time when cars had names, not alphanumeric codes, and each one had its own unique personality. Whether you're a collector, a nostalgic enthusiast, or just someone who appreciates the simplicity and charm of a bygone automotive age, the 1991 Oldsmobile 98 deserves a second look. It may not scream for attention, but once you experience it, you'll understand why some cars never fade. They just keep cruising, mile after mile, decade after decade. If you want, I can format this into a proper YouTube video script, add voiceover cues, or break it into segments. Let me know how you plan to use it.